it does, switch generation. So it's a little harder for there's no word for the generation.
Like, right?
So we're researching that if we can any other culture. My grandparents.
Hi, Emily. How are you? I recognize the voice. Good to see you.
But they got to invent it themselves. So they become the best dance in the world.
Excited to do this is my second semester.
There he is. Emily. Hey, man. Commissioner, how are you, sir? Good to see you. How you feeling, bud? I'm good. Oh.
Hey.
Yep. Well, you should sit up here.
We're in a professional development thing.
This time for the next one.
How are you? Oh, it's good seeing you. I'm so sorry I had to cut out yesterday so early. Abigail took care of you? Okay, that's all that matters.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a very special occasion here for Japantown. We have distinguished guests here today. My name is Richard Hashimoto. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Japantown Task Force Peace Plaza Committee. Speaker Pelosi, thank you so much for your support. Yeah. Okay. You know, on behalf of Japantown Committee, Speaker Pelosi, thank you so much for your support for the Japantown Peace Plaza renovation project. This is a long-awaited project, 6-7 years in the making, and we're finally getting to the last leg of the project here. I've been through 2 previous renovations of the Peace Plaza, and none of them had any community input whatsoever. And you know, the past 2 renovations were supposed to correct the waterproofing problem inside the garage below us. It did not. So when I heard that the current renovation would be a community-driven project, I was overjoyed and ecstatic. We are grateful to Recreation Park Department, General Manager Phil Ginsberg, your hard-working staff, and of course, your devoted commissioners, for including the community in the renovation. We lived and worked here in the community, and the plaza is our only open space to enjoy. Of course, this could not all be made possible if it weren't for Mayor Breed to making sure that the Peace Plaza renovation project was included in the 2020 Proposition A bond measure, which was overwhelmingly approved. You know, we sincerely want to thank Mayor Breed for her staunch support, but of course with the pandemic, there was some setbacks, and the current price tag over exceeded the bonding fund. So we are thankful, Madam Speaker, for coming up with the funds to balance the shortfall. You all know what the plaza means to this community, and can't wait for the renovation to be completed so that we can finally be proud of a plaza knowing that we had a voice in it. Speaker Pelosi, thank you so much again for your loyal and undying support for Japantown. Thank you.
All right, so who is ready for a brand new, beautiful plaza in Japantown? Come on, let me hear it. This has been a long time coming, and I just have to say, so I'm John Osaki, Executive Director, JCYC, also Richard's co-chair for this project. And I just had to say very quickly that with each step that we get closer to realizing this dream for this project, I cannot help but think about the first generation Japanese Americans, the Issei, who came to this country for the promise of America, and their children, the second generation Japanese Americans who once lived where we are standing here today, who once had businesses where we are standing right here today. And unfortunately, our past has been riddled with struggle, and we are forced out of this space not once, but twice. But the big difference between then and now is that we have friends, not only in this city, but in this country. People who do not see us as foreigners, but see us as Americans, who deserve the rights and privileges of every American in this country. And speaking of friends, it is my great pleasure to introduce one of Western Addition's very own, our mayor, Mayor London Breed.
Now
to be clear, I am a real San Franciscan, so usually when it's cold, I don't need a jacket. However, it is freezing today. Yes, you guys are in the sun, we are in the cold, but thank you all so much for being here. And John alluded to, you know, have been a part of this community my entire life and has spent many, many years of my childhood in Japantown. This was the place for us to go where we felt safe, where we felt welcome. When arcade games were in full effect at Japantown Bowl, and the Cherry Blossom Festival, which just occurred this past weekend and will be also back next weekend, continues to happen and it has been for 56 years. And so it's wonderful to finally be here. As Richard Hashimoto talked about, this Peace Plaza, which is a gathering space for so many events and activities and things in the city, has been, you know, in need of serious repair. And not just from the surface perspective to make it look good, because right now it looks good, but to make sure that its infrastructure is such that it is protected, that we are able to continue to keep it open, that we're able to continue to use the great garage that people were waiting in line to get into for the Cherry Blossom Festival, and to continue to come to Japantown for the various businesses. And I gotta tell you, this past weekend, when I was here, I couldn't even see the floor of this Peace Plaza. There were so many people here to enjoy the Cherry Blossom Festival. And there's so many activities and great events, and it is so fitting that today, you know, in light of the fact that we have been working so hard to make sure that this project was funded, and it started when I was on the Board of Supervisors, and years later, in bureaucratically years, here we are, I'm mayor, and now we're finally getting it done, and we're getting it done because of our Rec and Park leader, Phil Ginsburg, and all of our great commissioners that are joining us here. Thank you so much. But, you know, it takes a special kind of leader to make magic happen. And I gotta tell you how lucky we are in San Francisco to have Speaker Nancy Pelosi represent us. She has been for many, many years, but oftentimes, because she is just so high up in the world of politics, sometimes people forget how much she does to ensure that San Francisco is supported and protected. And so every single year, she delivers for projects like the Peace Plaza. She's delivered for United Players, and these are things that are important to the vibrancy of various communities, but she always manages to touch neighborhoods all over this city to make sure that we know how much San Francisco means to her. And so we are grateful that she's fighting those big battles, because no one's tougher than her in DC. But we're also so lucky to have her as our representative in San Francisco. And she has her fingers on the pulse of every little thing and every big thing and everything that's happening in our city. And so the fact that she is here taking a moment out to really appreciate the history, the culture of Japantown, one of the 3 remaining Japantowns in the United States of America, and one of the most incredible places with these beautiful cherry blossom trees and this great pagoda, which is a signature of not just Japantown, but a signature of San Francisco and our diversity and our strength as we come together as communities to always celebrate, uplift, and recognize one another. We cannot express enough appreciation to our speaker for making this a priority, for bringing to our city the resources necessary so that we can put this project out to bid this year, break ground next year, and make sure that by 2025, it is a brand spanking new plaza that's open and available to celebrate right here in the heart of Japantown. So we have so many great leaders joining us here on stage with our incredible Speaker Nancy Pelosi, but this woman has a special place in my heart. You know, what's interesting, there are certain people who will call me and come see me, and when they do, it's hard for me to ever say no to them. Everyone knows that Sandy Morey represents that person. So every time anyone wants anything, they're like, send Sandy in. The mayor can't refuse her. Well, I can't refuse her because her husband, Jeff Morey, signed my first paycheck when I was 14 years old working for the Mayor's Youth Forum. And there's just so much history tied to this community. And it just feels good to be here and to finally deliver this incredible project. And it wouldn't be possible without leaders like Sandy Morey. Please join us in welcoming her.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have to tell you something really also unique. As Madam Mayor said that Jeff signed her check when she was 14 years old, now she signs his check. Because he works for the city. We are very fortunate here in Japantown to have our leaders, such as our mayor, and we've known Mayor Breed ever since she was a child here in the Western Addition. And we're so proud of her becoming a supervisor and then becoming our mayor. And hopefully, again, when she reruns. The issue for us here in Japantown to have access to key leaders is very important because we have to be sure that our key leaders understand what the needs of our community are. And so we've been very blessed with this opportunity to have a good relationship with our mayor and of course with Speaker Emerita Pelosi. We have known her since she ran for Congress when she first ran. And she's been close to Japantown all these years. She never forgets us, and we will always support her. And we are very fortunate to have her support for this particular project. And so I bring to you our Speaker Emerita, Nancy Pelosi.
Sandy, as Sandy mentioned, we go way back. She was supporting me when I ran 36 years ago for Congress. Thank you, Sandy, and thank you, Jeff, and thank you all. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for making this of the highest priority. What you should know, you heard what the mayor said here, but what she says in other settings is this Japan Peace Plaza is of the highest priority for her. She cares about it deeply, she knows about it extensively, and she has supported it entirely. So thank you, Madam Mayor, for your recognition of this and your great leadership in our city and your kind words. I accept them on behalf of our constituents here. We see some of our Park and Rec commissioners here. We see Kat Anderson, Larry Griffin, Benita Louie, and Joe Hallisey. That's a former. I also want to say what an honor is to be here with Richard Hashimoto and John Osaki. Earlier, they told me about their family's history here, and it's just so remarkable to see the roots that are here, and then to hear them talk about how this will go forward with community involvement, which will always be the case. As the mayor said, there are only 3 Japantowns left in America. This one is just something that tourists come from all over to see. And pretty soon they'll see this plaza, the community involvement, how it goes forward. This community has been such a great resource to our country and to our city. Sandy and Jeff, of course, great leaders. I want to also acknowledge somebody from the University of California, San Francisco. Again, Keith Yamamoto, you know Keith. Oh, I'm sorry. Keith Yamamoto, such a national, international figure in healthcare in our country and in research. Thank you, Keith, for what you have brought to all of this. And I mention that because he is a global figure. And so you all have been such an important resource. I just want to share this with you. A long time ago, when I was first speaker, in 2008, I went to Japan for the speakers meeting. They have a G7, it was G8 at the time, but no Russia now, a G8 meeting, and it was in Japan, and that was held in Hiroshima. And when we went there, they asked me to place a wreath at the shrine, the Peace Memorial. Nobody of my rank in the government had ever done that, and this was a big deal. that the speaker would lay the wreath at the Peace Memorial. And I did so with great pride because of all of you. And then it led to the message we brought back to President Obama that he too should place a wreath, and he did at that place. And that was a big thing for our country to have that reconciliation coming forth. When I came home from that trip, Madam Mayor, a large number, as is typical when you come from London, large numbers of the community came together to hear about the trip. But on that particular occasion, it was largely people from Hiroshima. And they had come to America well before the war and been so much a part of our community. Of course, they were saying to me, why Hiroshima? It's heartbreaking in many respects, but also informative to see how much a part of America and of San Francisco that they were. Because I laid that, I believe because I laid the wreath, but also because I got President Obama to then go lay the wreath afterward. Not that I did, but it led to. Then I was received from the Emperor the Grand Cordon of the Rising Sun Award. It was such an incredible occasion. But I accepted it on behalf of all of you, because you taught me so much about the importance of our not only reconciling, but we're long past that, but building a better future together. So this Peace Plaza is so really important, and it took everything. It took the mayor, as you mentioned about the initiative, the referendum. It took the state, the king, and the support that he has brought to this, as well as the federal government, to recognize that this is a priority. Again, recognizing the beauty of our community, but the importance of community involvement. So again, I want to thank the mayor for her ongoing support for this and preserving this. Now I'm realizing it's because recognizing that she grew up here. I've always known she grew up here, but I didn't make the connection until today, but now I know why. When you talk to her, she'll always say, this is something we've always wanted to get done. It is of the highest priority. It is not only one of the three, but it's one of the oldest Japantowns in our country. And again, the Cherry Blossom Festival, respecting the wonderful heritage that is all about, and a gesture of peace. And of course, we thank our sister city of Osaka for the beautiful, stunning pagoda, reaffirming the lasting bonds between our two cities. So we're here in the cultural heartbeat of Japantown, drawing a flood of visitors. When I have visiting dignitaries come from other countries, they want to come here. They want to come here. They don't always want to be recognized. They want to relax and come here and support local businesses. And I see some of the local businesses here as well. And again, we were able to bring $3 million from the appropriations bill last year for this project. The state has done even more, and the city as well. So it's a very much a joint effort. But again, it'll be versatile, community-centric, because it has been built and designed with community involvement. I always say about San Francisco, the beauty is in the mix. We're so wonderful because we have this beautiful diversity. By revitalizing the Japantown Peace Plaza, we ensure that this vital, vibrant landmark remains a beautiful thread in our city's cultural history, now and for generations to come. This is about San Francisco. And in doing so, what you are doing is making America more American, because we're recognizing our beautiful diversity. So thank you all. Thank you all so much for what you have done to contribute to the cultural vitality of our city, the economic success of our city, the health and well-being of our people, the informing of our children of who we are as people, and again, being here to celebrate in anticipation of what will happen about a year and a half or 2 years from there. So once again, let us thank Mayor Breed for making this of the highest priority, so that it is something that we want to show the rest of the country. This is what is important to us. Thank you so I would hope that our friends in the press would have some questions about what we're gathered here to celebrate today. Any questions? I heard the statement, but I didn't hear the question. The ending of it. Okay, so that might be an answer that you all want to answer. The question is, what does today mean to the Japanese community and to our relationship with Japan?
Well, I think it speaks to how far we've come in this country. And it is incredibly meaningful to have friends like Speaker Emeritus Pelosi, like Mayor Breed, who are willing to listen, who are willing to identify the needs in our community and put time and effort and resources behind it. So it means a great deal. This space is symbolic not only for the Japanese American community, but also our friendship with Japan. So today is an incredibly important day, I think, for both this community and for our relationships with Osaka and the country of Japan. But thank you for that question. And thank you again, Speaker Emeritus.
I just would add one more thing. Richard was telling us about how his family was evicted nearby here a number of years, because we all know what happened in World War II and what a black mark that is on our country's history, and how I was pleased to be in Congress in time to overturn that and to vote for the reparations and the rest. But even since then, there have been acts of injustice culturally, like the eviction of your family. And now, of course, we had to make all of that right. So this is a part of that. Any other questions?
Afraid that Japantown is still in kind of a spot right now. They've got some incidents of crime, high-profile crime, we've got empty downtown businesses. How do you think about change there for future here?
Well, this is all part of it. It's taking pride in who we are. And this is a great city, the city of San Francisco. We have always been really a banner of respect for diversity and change. We also have to meet our challenges. And I'm very proud to say that I think that San Francisco is well on the course of doing that once again. Once again, Mayor, did you want to speak to that at all?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me just say that we understand that there is a perception and challenges around crime in San Francisco. And in fact, when you look at some of the more recent data, it does show that crime is down. It does show that we have a 85% clearance rate for homicides in the city, and the national average is 60%. But I understand that if you are a victim or if something happens to you or your loved one, that statistics don't matter. In San Francisco, recently the Board of Supervisors approved a $25 million supplemental so that we could make sure that our officers are still out on the streets, that they're investigating these crimes and preventing things from happening. In addition to that, the ambassador program that we helped to establish in various commercial corridors and other neighborhoods have been critical. Downtown, as it once was, may be something completely different than it currently is. You know, after the pandemic, things have changed and people want more work from home options. We have about a 25% vacancy rate in downtown, but with the biotech and the life sciences, that's at 5%. And the policies that we are pushing are to completely revamp the ability to make those things happen faster. It is going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And what I'll tell you about projects like this and what's happening in Japantown, well, you've seen all these very clips of moments in time and things that have happened in San Francisco. But what was not highlighted in a way that it should have been is how packed Japantown was this past weekend, celebrating the Cherry Blossom Festival, both in the mall and outside, where the teriyaki burgers ran out. Those are one of the highlights of the festival. What did not get publicized is how crowded and busy San Francisco was this past weekend. The sun was out and people were enjoying various parts of neighborhoods in the city. So I would ask people of the city, people who visit the city, to not allow a moment or the narrative that sometimes takes place on social media to determine how you feel about this amazing city, because San Francisco, like any major city, has its challenges. It is a major, densely populated, diverse city, and it has its challenges. But we are working very hard to make sure that we continue to uplift and bring community together. And this project is a testament to our resiliency, to our diversity, and to everything that's great about our city.
And let us commend the mayor for her leadership in all of this regard, because we always take an oath to protect and defend. Public safety is very important to a community, and the mayor has been a champion on this subject. When she talked about the $25 million initiative passed by the Board of Supervisors, and we thank them for that, it was her initiative to help with retention in our police department and the rest, to strengthen them as an organization, as we, shall we say, learn from each other about how to be responsive to the community in a way that is respectful. So let us thank our mayor for her great leadership, for understanding the oath to protect and defend our great city, its beautiful diversity, and to do so in a way that respects every person here, but in a way that respects the need for them to have safety as well. Thank you, Mayor Breed. Thank you all very much.
Get up closer and take a picture. Right where the folks are.
gonna march in the parade with jar? Yeah. So it's 135 across the street.
They like us. And they're like, I know you. And then I told my friends, like, I have a photo with him. They got this photo of all of them in China. Yeah, sort of. Yeah. I mean, they keep in touch with me. But he's in LA.
You were with her.
And I don't have fun with still, I mean, it's really good.
She's, I'm sure she's so proud of you. With everybody and also,
I know. They're still alive.
Without an official title. Right now they're on vacation, so we have a little break.
I know you guys started one, so to see if you can.
Oh, yeah, right.